Welcome to the Shipsgonnahappen podcast show. It's Saturday, October 16th, 2021. My name is Tony B. Alongside me as usual is David B. and Timmy D., my partners. One topic today, and only one topic because it's so hot and heavy and it's coming at us quick because of the holiday season. It's port congestion and adjusting to the supply chain demands. Our views are purely news-driven and do not express the views of any transportation provider or any business entity that uses any transportation provider. It's just three guys with 70 years of experience. We do it for the transportainment, Tim.
Transportainment, I love it.
Yeah, we do it.
Fancy word.
You like that? Transportainment.
Transportainment.
That's why we do it.
That's good right there, Tony B.
That's
why you're the producer.
You can catch us on our home base, www.shipsgonnahappen.com, Twitter, Rumble, Facebook, iTunes, and SoundCloud.com too. David B., happy Saturday morning to you.
Good morning, producer Tony. Hope you're doing well on this beautiful, crisp fall Saturday morning. Today's show is brought to you by The Great Divide, 743 East of New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. Good place to go on any day of the week and kind of get a good beverage, get some good food, chat it up with the locals, and just kind of go after a long day or a long week of working the docks or in whatever industry you're in. So, again, good morning to you, producer Tony. Timmy D., how are you this morning, my friend?
What's going on, fellas? A little tired. Just made it back from fall break with the family and long drive overnight, per se, and back at it. And got a poopy dog that we picked up from the old canine place. And so it's been a rough start, but here we go. It's bright and early, and the lawn is looking luscious, as always, Tony B.
Hey, thank you. And you just got back from Florida, right?
From Florida, yep. Yeah, it was gorgeous, hot, and red tide was upon us down there.
We weren't asking you to describe yourself. We wanted to know how the vacation was. Gorgeous and hot.
So early with the jokes. Yeah. I love it.
Bam. Yeah, keep us on our toes, David B. Thanks,
right,
man.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, so we got our number one topic, right? Port congestion and solutions to the supply chain. You guys ready to get into that?
Let's do her.
Let's get it.
So we'll get into number one here. We ready to get into number one? Let's get into it. All right. So I think, lately we've been talking a lot about the ports, and that's mainly what the show's about today. So it's a big thing due to all the seasonal items coming across. The heaviest part of shipping's coming right now due to Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. So we all have really topics on this. So we have been talking a little bit about the MX SoCal report. That's a marine exchange down in Southern California that monitors the ships and anchors and what's at berthing and whatnot. So did a little more deep diving into the ports here in congestion. So right now where we're at is 138 total ships in the port of LA and Long Beach. It includes 78 at anchor or drift areas and 60 at berthing. Of the 138, 86 are container ships, including 56 at anchor or in drift areas and 30 at berth. 27 vessels in holding areas, 21 container ships, 4 tankers, 1 bulk tanker, 1 heavy lift ship. It's still incredibly busy out there. So I think our message has always been and still is, do your shopping early as possible. Do your Christmas shopping and holiday shopping as soon as you can. Wouldn't you say that, David?
If you haven't started already, I mean, if you're listening to the show, or if you're not even just listening to this show, if you're watching the news on a daily basis, or if you've got some things in mind that you need to get just based off of last year, you ought to already know that you should have your stuff already on order. And if you're not ordering it now, you better get to ordering it soon. You're going to need to get it in before the holiday season gets here.
And they've tried to stock up on shelves, everything I'm hearing. And it's like you said, Tony, every newscast, doesn't matter where you're at or what newscast you watch. Local news here in the Midwest is leading off with supply chain issues because of the ports. Yeah. So it's definitely one of those. I look at my friends. I'm like, you haven't been listening to the show? Well, I told you guys this six weeks ago.
Yeah,
back in July, we talked about it, and it's just too quick for them to adjust their lead times to get the product in, right? So they're trying to stock up on these warehouses, but the lead time is just adjusted so much that shelves are going bare.
Exactly. Yeah.
Before all of this, I would have assumed, and I should not ever assume, that these ports automatically just work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when things were normal. To find out, I guess they have it or they don't. A lot of these ports work 7A to 5P, and now they're starting to work a different shift of 6A to 3A, or excuse me, 6P to 3A, to try to help get these vessels unloaded as quickly as possible. They've also opened up Seattle and Tacoma, Washington are taking on more business than what they normally do. Normally they don't have anybody waiting at those ports, and now they've got about a dozen or so ships out, and they're out in their berthing area also.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say real quick, just so to be fair, to put everyone on the same playing field here, we're in the Midwest, so we don't deal with ports on a daily basis. So us being a little bit undereducated on how the port stuff works is kind of, us diving into it and really starting to understand the full supply chain where everything comes. So just to be transparent, I'm very unfamiliar with the port situation, but I am learning a ton, and it's just
amazing.
Blowing.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Tim, because we have a guest coming in next Saturday morning to be on the show who is a container global expert, because we thought, digging into this, we might need a little bit
so
deeper
we all three
approach.
Need schooled, and we're going to go to class next week. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
nice.
We'll come up with some great questions for him.
I always carry my crowns with me, so we'll be ready for that.
Right
there, we go.
I saw in the box, Tim, it looked like a lot of them were either chewed on or broken in two.
They're already broke.
You're not supposed to be looking in my crown box.
So getting back to what we're talking about, right? According to the White House officials and media reports, there's an agreement to get the Port of Los Angeles operating 24/7. Speaking of what you were saying, David, I was under the impression that all of them were working 24/7 too. In my research, here's what I found out. They all pretty much are, except LA.
Oh.
So Long Beach, remember?
What?
Yes.
The largest port that we own?
Was not working 24/7.
Wow. To Tim's point, do we own that port? Are we the ones that own that port? Tim's point.
That is another thing that I've been digging deep.
Don't give me a Shipsgonnahappen line here that we don't own that port.
So here's this is incredible. And this is why I want to have that guy on next week, because he had an article he wrote about it. You're going to be shocked. We own the ports, but we let other companies and countries sometimes manage the ports based on the container ships so if you own like Costco, you're China, right? And you own Costco and you're in the Long Beach basin with all your product coming in, and you've got 60, 70, 80, 100 terminals. Well, you're controlling all those terminals, right? You're controlling the work hours, the work rules, all that. Who's coming in, who's coming out. You control that. So there is a little bit, David, thanks for bringing that up. There's a little bit of minutia to that. There's 100.
Minutia is a good word.
Yeah, there's a little bit. There's 167. Help me. I'll double check this. There's a port of entries, right, is owned by the General Service Administration of the United States government. There's 167 of them, but they only manage and control like 101.
Yeah.
So the rest are all Singapore actually has in some of our ports.
And so then also once the vessels get to port, it's not necessarily that, once they're going to get offloaded, but once they get offloaded, they still got to get to where they're going, because there's a shortage of chassis.
Good point.
There's not a shortage.
Yeah,
to Tim's point in pre-show, there's not a shortage of drivers. Yeah. There's a shortage of chassis. There's a shortage of places to store them. Yeah. Like right here is this picture of downtown Seattle, just downtown Seattle in a random place where
looks
they've
like
got
a nice house.
Yes. They've got, they've just got tanks. They've just got containers just stacked, 5 or 6 high. Yeah. And all the way across. And there's nowhere to put them.
So what I did was, and that's a great point, David, because it touches on what's going on at the other ports. So you have what's going on at LA, and it looks like the White House has talked to the Longshoremen's Union, which we've talked about before, and they've got an agreement where these people are going to go ahead and do 24/7, which is very much needed. But then I started digging in, and I'm like, so why are all the other ports, if they're working 24/7, why are they backed up too? All right. So I go, one of the best ones I found was the Port of Savannah, because you mentioned that before, David. And it's become one of the busiest ports in America, right? Well, their problem's a little different. They have 20 to 25 ships anchored offshore constantly, which is at record levels. But their situation's a little bit different. They can't get the containers off their premises. So they're unloading them as fast as they can, but they can't, speaking to what you were saying earlier, they can't get the containers off the premises, and they blame it on the logistics companies not being able to keep up with the demand of moving them. So they went back to the state of Georgia and to the federal government and asked for a loan to buy some open land north of the Atlanta, or north of wherever they're at.
Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah. So thank you, Tim. So they could drop them and stage them and get them off the property.
This is a typical game of he said, she said, point the finger somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's always that.
It's China's fault. Well, first off, it's the Americans' fault for ordering China.
Yeah.
And then you order so much at once because you've been missing it for so long that they all get released at the same time to come over all at once. So now it's the port issue because we can't get them in. Then we don't have the workers. And then all the truck drivers are complaining that they can't get their load off from the port.
Yeah.
And then, so now the California side, they're trying to turn it on to, well, it's really the driver's fault. Well, no, it's your fault. But we have the polar opposite from Savannah where it's not the unload issue. It's now the driver issue.
Yeah.
Right.
It just doesn't seem to go away. Every one of them have a different set of problems.
So did either one of the two of you hear that there was one of the anchors from one of the container vessels is what caused that oil spill?
That's my next, yes.
And so I kind of heard, I only heard it sitting at an establishment that serves liquid beverages in the afternoon, and it kind of caught my ear one time, and I'm like, I haven't heard that before. Not that I wasn't refuting it, but I'm like, that kind of makes sense. And so I didn't know if either one of the two of you had heard a sort of story like that.
I read LA Times had come out with an article, and I'm paraphrasing here, but to kind of sum up what they put out there is the Coast Guard and a couple other DOD type of people have actually been monitoring this port since 2020 of October. They haven't put it on a particular vessel yet, but they are saying because of the backlog and everyone dropping anchor off the port. So this spill happened in Long Beach. All right. So it's right by the port. And because of all the big anchors that have been dropped, they think it raked over one of the oil lines.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually been leaking since January. They think late
Holy
January.
cow.
So it's just kind of gotten bigger and bigger. But they think a lot of that has to do with the ships dropping anchor because they're just waiting and idle.
And those are huge anchors, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those are.
I can't hook it up to my John Deere and pull it. I can tell you that right
exactly.
Winch ain't going to do it, man.
And
So yes, I saw about that, and I'm curious on how much. It didn't really say it was affecting the port itself yet, but it has to affect all the traffic from all those container ships sitting out there. And if you got people basically just idling for months at a time out in that shouldn't even be there. They're never there, right? They're used to coming over. It takes maybe a week to get unloaded. Now you're taking 2 to 3 months to unload. Those ships are sitting there for a long time. If that anchor ain't all the way down, or sometimes you know how they come up.
Yeah.
I don't care how good you are, how long you've been driving. One of those container ships has got to be pulling 1.5 million, 2 million pounds.
Yeah.
So to drop an anchor down and hold, it's not surprising that something this magnitude could happen. And it's just they're trying to get it under control, but it's just a pain in the butt to do. So yeah, they're not 100% sure, but yes, that is what they're suspecting. They're trying to review everything to see when it all happened. If we're going to be able to tell, who knows? Everyone knows money talks. So we'll see how that goes.
So the corporation I work for, we're importing a container. We're not big on this. This is kind of really new for us. And we're importing a container from Germany that'll set sail on the 24th of this month. And guess which dumbass is in charge of that for the corporation. So I'm going to be monitoring that and see how it flows. It's supposed to hit us, one of the ports in New York. They haven't decided which port just yet, on November 1st. Now that seems like a really quick transfer. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm going to be watching this. I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to go.
November 1st, 2022.
Right. Yes.
So I posted
I guess I should have paid more attention.
On our Instagram account, I put on there, I ordered a pair of shoes. All right. Well, we don't try to name drop on this show. So just a pair of shoes. And of course, they're coming from China, where they just shipped from Singapore. So I put on there the time, the day, and I'm interested on how long that's going to take from Singapore to the Midwest, the heartland of the Midwest.
Do they still make tracks? TRA.
Oh man, tracks. Remember when they had their green ones?
Mm-hmm.
They
sold them at Kmart. Yeah, that where they sold those.
Yeah, those were hot back in the day.
That just dates us. That dates Tony and I pretty good.
That's before you could get Nikes, right?
Yes.
Converse, Chuck Taylors.
Yep, right before school every year. I'm going to go get some new tracks, run faster and jump higher.
But in talking about all this, I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this. So Tim and I think, and David are loyal Americans, right? So I was thinking, man, how do you solve this thing, right? How do you solve this problem? And really the only thing I can come up with is you have to go local, right? Instead of global, until the global thing figures its piece out, right? But you can't get all that local. So our government should have a backup supply chain, right? And that backup supply chain should be consistent with North America and maybe Mexico and Canada involved, and we maybe make it run to a quarter of what our flow is now, so it never goes down, and we can always utilize it if it goes down.
Yeah, but you got so many perishable items out there. That's tough. I see what you're saying. We've got warehouses stored of, heck, we got World War I military gear just sitting in warehouses per se. That's just sitting there, right? I mean, think about when the pandemic happened last March. Out of nowhere, we're getting supplies out of this backup that nobody knows about, but they were so outdated.
Right.
Because we don't keep it up. We don't keep it fluid. We don't go with today's type of technology per se. That's a tough one. That's my mind is, that's tough.
But what I'm saying is, like, so you're saying you go back it's out of date, right? So how you keep it fresh is you make it run as a percent of the total economy now, so that it's ready at any time. It's current, and at any time it could take over and handle, or maybe it just goes into categories of the stuff we need the most, right? Because it took them
toilet paper.
Yeah. It took them a long time, right? To get
Gatorade.
that shit.
Yeah. We're out of all that stuff.
So Tony, as part of this, just getting back into more domestic manufacturing of things also as a whole, or
I'm not anti-trade. I mean, we got to trade, but I think the more we do here, the more reliant we are on ourselves, the less likely we have backups and things like this. And hell, it saves a lot of money to have to go rebuild, 21 ports in America to withstand all this traffic that's probably going to last only a generation or two, right? And then they'll be on to some new trade deal where
part of that infrastructure stuff kind of talks about that too.
Yeah, it does.
If it's not broke, especially at least my experience in this industry, if it's not broke, you don't fix it. So I feel like this industry does a lot of throw Band-Aids on items just to keep going. I mean, there's a lot of old fleets out there, not a lot of people buying new equipment. Everybody's got their mechanics. Outside of tires on a truck, look how many docks are made back in the 1940s. There's very few
don't do them anymore,
people that are building docks.
It's a lot of concrete.
And you see these massive warehouses go up, taking all the cornfields away wherever you're at, and then you see all these other ones sitting empty. So maybe we quit building new warehouses and force people to rent the other ones, but people want their new stuff.
Yeah.
Part of my homework this week was that, the ports were saying that domestically, we just don't have the infrastructure to absorb everything that we're doing right now. We do need like as Tim mentioned, we do need the ports to be, reworked and have maintenance and all the roads and everything. It's just tough right now to handle all this, the influx of business.
Everything, trucking industry, heck, almost 10 years ago, people thought it was a dying industry. But at the end of the day, you're going to see nothing but trucks on the roads that have to get goods to the Americans, as we speak about all the time. And I think finally the entire country is starting to realize trucking is a whole lot more than they thought.
As we posted on social media this week, we posted an editorial by Glenn Beck that kind of gave a really good view on and really simplified the importance of how important trucking is. Everything that we have, everything we touch, everything we deal with, at some time was on a truck. Some important
92% of it, right? It's on a truck, right? Yeah. So. It's vital, man. It's been it built the country, right? It paved the roads. It's the reason we are where we're at today.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to talk a little bit more about the port here real quick, if I may interject here.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
So the main spokesperson for the Los Angeles, the union out there, the port union, his name is Frank Ponce de Leon. If I can say that right, probably butchered it pretty good.
You did great.
He commented on NPR on Thursday. It's important to let people know that our contracts allow the employers and the terminal operators to work 24 hours a day. So it's not something that's brand new.
Right.
The push by the Biden administration is actually a push in the direction of getting others in the supply chain so we can hopefully ease up the congestion. So it's there, but the company doesn't want to work 24 hours a day. So the union has it where they can, but they don't want to pay it at the ports. Now, basically, they're being forced to do that.
Yeah. No, Tim, in saying that, I think when they announced that, I wondered really who they were talking to, because I know the union will work 24/7. All they got to do is agree to do it themselves, and they do it, and the rest of them really are. I think these other entities they're talking about are the people that control these other terminals that maybe foreign influenced. And, if it's 40% Long Beach and LA of our goods coming in, I mean, my goodness, you would think that the 24/7 was going on. And I think the way the White House kind of parlayed it offended me a little bit as a logistics guy, because they were like, well, we need the domestic piece to be working hard. Well, I mean, we are. I
agree with that.
We are. I mean, my company has been working 24/7, had the smaller terminals open 24/7, doing everything we can to move what we can. And so I think it's just a culmination of what you said earlier, Tim, a while back. We were never set up to or designed to handle a complete shutdown and reopening the next day and having everything done efficiently and effectively, because it's just when you're unloading the containers and you have the imbalance of containers in China and Asia, it's going to take a while to catch up. So
I read something else here that kind of ties into that about the working 24/7. So basically that port's going to pick up 60 hours of working. All right. So, man, I don't know what that pay translates to. The company have to pay out to the workers on the overtime and things, right? They're being cheap. All right, let's just call it what they are, cheap asses. Okay. So this industry has been underpaid for
20, 30, 40 years. Yeah.
Damn too long. All right.
Time.
So here's how a trucking company can benefit from mileage mistakes. All right. Just so you know, this is off of smarttrucking.com. A 500 truck fleet shorts its drivers 25 miles a day. If they do that on a 500 truck fleet at 35 cents a mile, that's call it $4,400 a day they save, or $131,250 per month, or almost 1.6 million a year by shorting drivers on a 500 fleet by 25 miles. That's it. 25 miles. You can't even go across the city that we live in for 25 miles.
Yeah, right.
Shorten them one stint like that saves a company 1.6 million. And that's just on truck driver fleet. So this port company out there for Long Beach and LA and whatnot, them not working those extra 60 hours. I'm doing air quotes, by the way. I know you can't see me, but they're saving how much money on that? I mean, that's a lot of, and that's overtime.
Right. But then the thing too is most of them, you and I know, and David from being in this industry, most of the freight moves at night. Yeah. Right. So
that's when the real work gets done.
That's when it gets done. So, FedEx announced that they're going to increase their nightly volumes up to 20% by adding some warehouse space in, and UPS is going to do some more. So I guess there's a little bit to be done, but it may be running at max level now. And you're really probably going to have to make like Indianapolis International Airport a temporary import, you know what I mean, city to alleviate all this. Once you can get it moving, you're going to have more import places, I think, to clean it out.
You're going to have to start coming through the Great Lakes. I mean, Chicago's got a little bit of a port, right? You're going to have to do something.
Bit. Yeah, they've got
one thing I did realize, so I went down to Florida, as I mentioned last week, or I guess this week, however you want to look at that. And they have announced, Florida has announced they're opening their ports. They said bring the business to Florida.
I saw that.
We will get it unloaded. We'll get it moved through America.
That was part of my thing.
And if you think about it, so Florida is typically a consumer state. They're getting all the trucks down there because everyone down there is consuming. No one's producing anything. The only time they produce anything, I shouldn't say the only thing, but is during fruit season. And all those trucks come up here, and that's why you see an imbalance in the pool and the prices that go up and down on your truckloads. That may put those same employees, those same truck drivers, full time.
It would. You could pick stuff up at the port because they only have Jacksonville and Miami.
That's what I was just
and they're
hearing
talking about opening some up in the Gulf side.
So if they open those up, so you talked about that they're starting to move ships across the Atlantic now versus coming over on the West Coast, and they open those up. That puts drivers in a good spot.
It does.
A real good spot.
And over the past months or couple months that we've been talking, those two ports right there, Jacksonville and Miami, were not on the list of, the big ports that have.
They're
not,
So, I mean, let's make them top 10
You would think
ports.
Florida would be the consumption state it is. Would be.
You mentioned that you ordered something from Germany and it's supposed to be there November 4th or something. So you're talking 2-3 weeks. So for them to make that adjustment to start moving ships into, or container ships over into Florida versus California, obviously the people in California that are outside there, they're screwed. You might as well just count those 200 gone. Do they start just reroute them? Is it worth the extra fuel? What's the cost of the goods? Because then is it going back West Coast? I guess, and then do they have the capacity to, they say unload the containers, but then we all know those containers have to go to somewhere else to get unloaded again before it can actually be moved.
Man,
for the most part.
That's a good point.
Unless you're ordering an entire container for yourself and you're allowed to take that container into the United States, which is probably not going to make it. Is there that capacity ready? There's more to this picture than just, okay, let's just open this up and bring them down here.
The flows.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
so a little bit to Tim's point. How are these big box companies getting private shit? How is that? I still don't understand how they're able to get around or skirt or go to
Target's
a private
doing it,
port
Walmart's
or whatever
doing it,
to have that happen.
Money's power.
It's because the GSA only controls 102 or 101, and the rest are private. So you're able to negotiate.
The private ports is what they're coming through.
Yeah, you can go through the private ports and get that done. Mm-hmm. And it seems like that's what Target, Walmart, and a lot of them are doing. Okay. But when I did that port thing a couple weeks back, I didn't add it as a part of the topic. But what you were saying, you're starting to see more of those China containers flow into the Miami and to the East Coast. They're not the top. They're
top
like
10.
Yeah, but they're starting to creep up, and it's because of that congestion. But what was happening too is some company was snagging and not waiting for those containers to be loaded, was snagging them all and sending them back empty, which shows how desperate they are
need them
to get these empty containers.
But if you think so, the other thing that crosses my mind is like Hasbro, right? That's the largest. I think the largest toy maker in the world. By the way, fun fact: the biggest seller of toys in the world. Anybody know? Who sells the most toys in the world? What company?
What store?
Yeah.
What store sells the most?
Let that sit in. Okay.
Probably Walmart.
No, your answer is McDonald's.
Oh, with the toys?
Happy Meals across the world.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, look it up. Now,
who would have thought?
So Hasbro is out there on the West Coast. They're bringing in all the stuff to make, or they have the molds and put them together and package them and move them within the United States. And your auto, a lot of auto manufacturers out there in California as well. And if you move all that to Florida, you got to ship it across country to get to that warehouse to come back over to where it needs to go. Mm-hmm. So until they can get that piece figured out, unless you're bringing those containers into a Walmart DC, and it's everything for that DC only. So these DCs are now ordering custom per DC versus Walmart putting all their chips together and saying, I want a container full of 100% of this. Yeah. Now you got to start piecing the containers together, which gets really hairy for the Chinas and the Taiwans and things that actually start picking and packing before it even gets here, which may be the next answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. When there's no end in
Look,
sight with all this congestion,
I blew everyone's mind on the McDonald's fact.
So,
they don't even know what to say. They're done now.
See, is Burger King in second?
No, well,
I doubt it.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get me a Happy Meal after the show.
Get a toy. I want a toy.
Get my toy.
Oh boy, remember you used to be able to say boy toy or girl
You can't
toy.
get a McFlurry, but you can get you a toy.
That's right. Yeah, because the machine's broken. That's why you can't get a McFlurry. Sons of
They're getting
bitches.
investigated
How the hell?
right now.
Yeah.
Are they?
Did you see the government's investigating for false advertisement
McDonald's?
because every machine's always broke and they always said they got McFlurries. It's false advertisement.
I've told this story in the
didn't know.
past. I'm pretty sure that. But when
Did
I
not know
bartended
that.
and somebody wanted a frozen drink, the blender was always broken.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I ain't fucking fixing that. No,
It's broke.
It's broke.
Ship's gonna happen.
Somebody else just ordered or whatever, and I'm like, nope, it's broke.
You want bourbon and ice? Or
That's
you
right.
want vodka and
Right.
water? What you want, man?
Dumb down your drink.
So what are your guys'
down your drink.
what are your guys' predictions then? Let's start with you, David. How do you think this
the
thing works
Chinese-
itself
the Chinese
out?
New Year's coming up, in March,
Yeah.
I believe is what it is. I think that's going to help a little bit alleviate this congestion. So hopefully by April, we're starting to see some things ease up. But
So you're still on the boat of Christmas that
Oh,
you got to do that shopping like
clearly,
now, right?
clearly. I mean, again, and my main reason is just look at last year when the pandemic was going on. It's worse now than it was last year. So
Right.
I mean, because we're coming out of quote unquote coming out of the pandemic.
Well, I
But-
saw that I think the record sales online is predicted for this Christmas, which is, I think, obvious reasons. Everyone got so comfortable with it last year, it's just going to boom even more.
Yep.
And you're frustrated going out and looking at empty shelves. So I think they predicted a $1.2 trillion
This Christmas?
this Christmas.
Holy
Online
cow.
sales only.
Wow.
That's online.
So that'd be like a 50% growth probably
Yeah, it's
on
crazy.
maybe more.
When Timmy D left for vacation, he snapped a photo of a truck stop with their shelves were
Oh, my
bare.
gosh.
And I've been into 2 since Tim has taken that picture, and they're still just as empty.
At a truck stop?
Yeah, and they're still just as empty as they were. So I made the comment. I made the comment to the people working there. I go, so you guys are having issues with getting, supplies? They're like, oh yeah,
Well, they're
we're not
goddamn
getting
truck
nothing. So-
stop. But it makes me think of what Jeremy said. Because I was in one the other yesterday, Thursday. I stopped in one off the interstate, and it made me think of him, the gentleman who wrote to the show. And I looked at what he had to eat in there, and it was exactly what he said.
Crap.
This is garbage, and half of it was gone. And it's just like, what? Where
I
do
couldn't
these
get
people
over-
eat?
They don't have cheese, so I like to get me a little gas station hot dog with the chili and cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have cheese. Some lady told me they ain't had cheese over a month for the machine. Cheese, liquid, freaking nacho cheese.
That machine's
Yeah.
broken too.
That's what, that's what I asked her. I said, "You mean it's just been
Nacho
broken
machine.
and nobody wants to do it?"
Nachos
You're
are
right.
broken.
I noticed that too. So, and then I hit another one had no cheese. The water, simple Coca-Cola. Gatorade you can't get.
Right.
You
It's
can't
totally
find
out.
Gatorade
It's
anywhere.
ridiculous. It's because of the plastics we were talking about still.
I took a little weekend kind of road trip about a month ago, and I didn't notice because I wasn't strictly paying attention. But like a lot of these truck stops anymore, it's like a Denny's that are in there, or a Taco Bell or a Burger King or whatever. It doesn't seem like there's any more truck stop restaurants, where it's just exclusive
like
to the truck stop.
What, like the Stuckies?
Yeah,
You used to be able to get good meals out of those places, right? And
Right.
I feel like if you stop at a truck stop, you got pizza, fried chicken, gizzards, some potatoes. What do they call them? Little tater babies right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Little steak fries, basically.
Yeah.
That's about, and then you can get a hot dog or some of those Torquitos dudes on the roller.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you got, and some
Yeah.
chips.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I found myself coming back. We drove last night. And I'm stopping. I'm like, well, I guess that's what I'm getting. Not that, look at me. It's not like I'm like, hey, you got a salad sitting around? No, I'm not asking about that. I just say it does suck for them.
Yeah.
It absolutely sucks for those guys.
Yeah, I will say,
And gals.
Yes, I will say that the Flying J pizza is very, very good pizza.
But it's usually out.
Well, that's true.
Usually
but
there's-
it's when you can get it, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
haven't
no,
had
it is
in a
good.
while.
It is good.
Yeah, that's good pizza.
Do you guys, so when you guys go on your vacations, my family tends to get mad at me because I don't do a lot of fast food. What I'll do is I'll put on my phone like a Kroger or a grocery store.
Kroger.
So we might go a half mile or a mile off course if I'm really hungry to go get like a little salad mix or a vegetable.
I will beat your ass. Off the highway.
A little vegetable.
A little disclaimer here: the views just given by Tony B do not reflect the views of everyone on this show.
No.
Just so everybody knows.
But I know how Jeremy feels, right?
Yeah,
because he can't just. I can go find the grocery store, right, in the vehicle. He can't just go in an 18-wheeler pulling into a damn Kroger parking lot and run it. He's going to be way off course, right?
Right.
And then he can't run in there and get his little pre-mixed salad that he wants, or maybe get some fresh oranges or something like that, fresh apples, right? I was shocked that they didn't. And I saw what his description was in that email. There's the typical little bowl of fruit or whatever, right? And so I saw that, and it was like only 3 of them in there.
Yeah.
They were all wilted and stuff. And I was like, what the hell? If my man Jeremy walks in here right now, he's got nothing.
Right.
Nothing to eat.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's big thing now is you see those vending machines. I just saw an advertisement. They got a pizza vending machine. It makes your pizza right there. So, or what was it? The thing that was on Shark Tank was a salad maker.
Oh yeah.
Right there. How good does that lettuce stay? You talk about the wiltedness, and I don't know what I don't have a solution for that. I don't know
where's
what the right
this pizza
thing is.
maker at?
I don't know. I just saw something online about it. I can't even tell you what it is now.
Oh shit, that might be a big thing.
Now, can I mention something here? Driving back, so we drove ended up being 14 hours, I think, with traffic and whatnot. I'm gonna tell you right now, I saw 2 people. That's pretty good, maybe 2 people during the night hours watching television on their cell phones.
I see that.
While they were driving?
I see that all the time.
One of them was a truck driver hauling a container, and Lindsay was like, I was like, man, he's watching TV. He goes, in his rig? And I go, man, you're not that country to be calling nobody as having a rig, all right? So let's not go there. But yes, watching TV, I'm thinking to myself, and it's like, yeah, that's how families get killed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, yeah.
Truck driver, you cannot be watching TV. I don't care what the hottest Netflix thing is out. We can't be doing that.
So let me just interject this. Go ahead, Dave.
I got to know, just real quick on Timmy D's story. I got to know how many of those hours was Lindsay at the helm of the driving where she was just shitting and getting down the road and make sure everybody got out of the damn way.
She drove the first, we'll call it 9 hours.
There you probably, yeah.
I drove all the way there. She drove the 9 hours to start on the way back.
There we go.
She thought I was a little hungover. Go ahead, Tony B.
So when you go by this driver watching the TV, you can see like the scenes flipping on the screen and all that. Like he's got it live.
It was right above his speedometer.
See, that's bullshit.
It's sitting on like a little holder dudes that suction cups down right above his steering wheel, sitting right there like it's supposed to be a GPS. It was a TV show, and I can't make this.
See,
up.
I have no problem with them listening to the show with the screen
Shipsgonnahappen.com
Right, yes.
off. Yeah,
Right.
with it off. But man, that's scary.
Ballsy.
Yeah,
It is very
was that
ballsy.
during the night?
Yeah,
Obviously.
I don't know. We left down there.
Excuse me.
10 or 11 o'clock, so a lot of it was day hours coming back, but you could definitely, I saw 2 people, one in a Jeep, a person in a Jeep by himself.
Oh man, watching a fucking movie.
And we're going through Kentucky, just south of Louisville, we'll call it Park City area, about an hour or so south of Louisville. And we're going, so that's the hills.
Yeah, right. It's a dangerous area.
And I can think about, I know some tragic accidents on that 65 stretch right there. And this dude is just sitting back watching TV.
Do you know what he was watching?
I don't know. And
Was it
I
porn?
wasn't driving. So believe it or not, it brings me to, you guys remember the show Live PD?
Yeah.
There was a guy
Great
that
show.
They pulled over to do was watching porn.
Oh.
He was watching porn while he
I was driving. I think I saw that one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little out there, right?
It is.
Pull over, guy. You know,
I mean,
come on.
Or pull out, one of the two.
Pull over and pull out, man. Come on.
That's right.
God almighty. So, Tim, your thoughts, though.
Back to port congestion.
Yeah.
I think we're looking at next summer as far as freeing up. I think of everything that's sitting out there. Once it gets stocked, only about I'm going to guess about 70% is going to get used. So there's going to be some of that leftover flow you talked about. And I think ordering will calm down. I think everyone's in a panic to buy things now because they're afraid if they don't get it now, they won't get it tomorrow.
Right.
So I think a lot of it's panic buy. A lot of people are just, I got to have something, I'm going to be the Grinch for Christmas and just say ship's going to happen. Nothing came,
Yep.
That's right.
But yeah, I think we're looking at next summer. Is my prediction. I think we're looking at next summer, and I think we'll have plenty of things on the shelves.
One of the things also too, as long as we've been doing this for almost a year now, 10 months, and we've talked about, hey, we think it was going to be June when it gets alleviated, and now we're shoving everything into next year. It's just so, ship's going to happen. We don't know how really things are going to go, and kind of weird times that we're in right now.
It is very, very weird, and I'm glad that we started talking about it though, because we really been talking about this ahead of the rest of the people that have been talking about it, and it's in our wheelhouse, and we see ourselves doing everything we can. David B's working extra hours. I am. Tim is. The whole dang supply chain is, right, and hopefully it gets caught up soon. I don't see myself. Man, I don't know. It's going to go on for a while.
Let me ask you this. I got one more thing here. Real quick answer. Have either of you taken your own advice and already started ordering Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
You have?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got you got 2 or 3 of us.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yep,
Good deal.
definitely. So we're good. So one thing I got too is like, have either one of you, and like I know I can't even think of the last time. When was the last time you ever think that you worked a 40-hour work week? I mean, I can't ever think of working out a 40-hour work week.
Only 40?
Only 40.
Oh
Yes.
no.
Yeah, never.
No.
Never. Even while you're on vacation, you're not. You're still working. Whatever.
It takes me 40 hours just to delete emails.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
Let's go
said.
to David B's random thoughts. What do you think?
Said.
You guys into the
Good
random thoughts? All right. Let me. I don't want to do that. Let's see here. We get into David B's.
He's always good. He's always good for something out there on the random thoughts.
Yeah, we get
The
the.
Ship's Gonna Happen show. Only got one this week.
You only got one?
Yeah, I had two, but I've had two, but we talked about Tim's vacation long enough, or unless Tim wants to mention it again, I'm fine. But I keep saying, we're already talking about that. That's my random thought stuff.
All right, let's get into David's random thoughts.
Yeah, if I can, I'm going to do my best to word this the right way, because I've had it in my head all week, but I just can't seem to get it the right thing. So if the two of you could get a tattoo of your favorite restaurant that's visible somewhere on your body, and that meant that you could eat at this restaurant free for the rest of your life, where would that restaurant be?
Or where would the tattoo be?
And
No,
the
the
show is
tattoo has to be
over.
visible, so I don't care where, yeah. If the tattoo just has to be
So
visible.
you're basically asking, where do I want to eat for free for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
So
But
mine-
you have to get a tattoo somewhere on your body for that.
Mine would
Visible.
probably be. I'd get Lou's on my
There we go.
forearm right
Yeah,
there.
Lou Malnati's.
Yeah, and then maybe I'd get a Portello's on the back right here.
Big Portello's fan, huh?
Yeah, I like
All right.
Portello's, and so I would go to Lou's
Those are two good
and then
suggestions.
Portello's, right? And boom, I'd be a healthy damn American till I dropped.
There we go. Yeah,
See,
all that pizza and
Yeah.
beef and
Yeah.
stuff. Hell yeah.
I would have to do. It'd have to be pizza. I don't discriminate on
Which
pizza.
one, though?
So I've had such good. Probably somewhere that's got wood fired pizza. It's tough to find around here, so I can't answer that question.
That's good pizza, wood-fired
I like
pizza.
wood fired pizza. Yeah. But I tell you what, there's a steak restaurant over in Cincinnati, and I can't think of. I want to say it's called TJ's, but I'm not sure. It's better than St. Elmo's in my opinion.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So
Probably the
you
best
get
steak
that?
I ever had. I love steak.
Do you have any tattoos?
I do not.
I know- see,
I'm tat free.
You and I both were in, and we never got tats. I
know.
never got one.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I never did.
Sat down to get one, and my buddy of mine,
Yep.
we were in the Philippines, and he was getting one, and he got one on the inside of his lip.
Oh my gosh.
And I was watching him, and I was like, "Freak this!"
Right.
I'm like, "No way!" I got out and didn't do it. I was going to get a American flag with an eagle,
Wow. All right.
but
Wow.
my boy just got one.
Okay.
And didn't tell me that he was going to get it. Yeah. So he just turned 18, right? So he goes, he always says to me, because my thing is, you know, he when I'm heading out, he goes, where are you going? I go, Home Depot, because I go there a lot. So then he says, I'm going Home Depot. And I thought he's joking. Him and his girlfriend are leaving. So then I'm like, well, where are you going? And then his girlfriend was walking out last, and she goes, well, he's getting a tattoo. I go, whoa, wait a minute.
He's 18, Dad.
So I head out the front door because now he's backing out to catch her, coming out the front door. I go, hey, dude, what's going on, man? He goes, yeah, you really want to do this? I mean, this is
hell yeah.
You really want to do this? And he did it, and it doesn't look bad, but just got a little one on his leg, so...
Oh, that's cute.
But,
so, Tim, did we get an answer? No, Tim had an answer. I don't know if Tim answered.
Tim said TJ's, right?
Well, kinda, not really.
I do a pizza joint, Papa John's. I mean, I don't know.
Well, where is there a wood stove one? I've had them. They're hard to find. They're what does the Brickstone do them? Wood stove?
There's not.
I've never eaten there.
I don't know. I'm trying to think what the best slice of pizza I've ever had. That's a tough one. Let me think about what's your answer?
So that little spot, before I answer mine,
is it
that
the Flying J pizza?
No. that you said. That's good pizza, but I wouldn't, no.
Flying J tattoo.
So before I give my answer, there was in that little spot in the road that I go to in West Virginia, they just opened up a wood fire pizza place, and I went in there and got one. It was so good.
What was the name? Do you remember the name of it?
The name of not right off.
That's the tattoo Tim should get.
No.
All right, I got real quick. I got my answer. So I'll retract that statement. I would do LC's barbecue in Kansas City.
Okay,
it's a phenomenal. Best barbecue I've ever had.
Telling us about that.
So go ahead.
So my first answer. This is actually a question that's why we have it this week, is because somebody else asked me. So my first answer automatically was St. Elmo's, and
St. Elmo's, that'd be a good one.
And so my buddy that proposed the question to me, he kind of gave the answer, and I think I agree with this maybe a little bit more on a practicality standpoint of like a Chili's or a Bob Evans, somewhere where you can go and get
all three meals
meal of the day. And I'm like, you know what? That's not a bad idea.
Because I'd have to wait for dinner every day.
Yeah, I mean, so I think like a Bob Evans. I've never been to a Chili's. That just shows you how
I'm not a Bob Evans fan at all.
Shows you how old I am.
Chili's, Applebee's. I see Texas Roadhouse is really. They've got some of the best prime rib.
Yeah,
they're really good, man.
So hold on a second. Bob Evans doesn't serve alcohol, so no, it wouldn't be Bob Evans. It would have to be Chili's or Texas Roadhouse or something like that.
Not Ponderosa.
Get a Ponderosa.
Yeah.
Nah,
Are they still around?
Yeah,
I don't know.
think there's very many.
They had beer, though.
If you got a Chili's tattoo, it would just be of that chili or whatever.
Yeah.
So
that'd be a good one.
Yeah. So just saying, wherever, I don't know.
With a little barcode with what you scan you. Boom,
I know that might be a lame random thoughts, but that's just what I have.
They got that little prepaid thing right there.
That is a great ploy for a restaurant. When you get a tattoo, I'm going to give you free food.
Yeah. For the rest
it's
of your
visible.
life. Yeah, visible tattoo. Yeah.
I'm surprised they don't do car wraps. If you wrap your car in my thing, you can have free meals.
Yep. So,
would you wrap your car?
I'd do that over a tattoo.
Well, yeah, I'd be okay. Yeah, I agree with that. But would you leave everything from now until the day you die, every vehicle you have must be wrapped in that?
I don't know. It depends on what it would look like.
You might as well just get the Pizza Hut magnet to go on top of it.
Portillo's might have a hot dog, right? You drive around in a hot dog.
Right.
The Wienermobile coming
or the pizza
there
one.
You go.
The oven pizza.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my God. That's good stuff.
That's a strong question.
Man,
you got to start warning us about these questions.
No, David, that's no fun if I warn the two of you. The best thing is when Tim's like, done, over,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's all good.
Nice.
All right. Well, poor congestion. I guess I better get on my Christmas gifts ordered before it's too late.
Congestion.
It's going to happen.
Hey, we're still waiting on our stove, by the way. We ordered last October.
I was going to ask you about that.
For our old house.
No way.
Wow.
Still waiting on that son good.
How long has it total been? It's
over
been
12 months.
Over 12 months.
Yep.
Waiting on a stove.
Wow.
400,000 containers still not moving around the globe. It's amazing.
Ship's going to happen.
Ship's going to happen Saturday morning. Thanks for joining in. Timmy D, you got anything else you want to add in, brother?
Ship's going to happen. Appreciate everyone joining in and listening. And we hope to bring more entertainment every time we get on the mic and educate everybody the best we know.
Dave, what were you shipping me earlier?
What was that? What's that new phrase we've got?
Transportainment.
I love that. Transportainment. Well, welcome. Yeah, thanks for listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen Transportainment show. So I love it.
Nice.
Everybody have a good weekend. All you drivers, be safe. Be careful. Out.